Max, I got my Thousand Island dressing.
He didn't give you any credit, man.
That's not true. I put it all over my turkey. I put a little salt and pepper and a little Lowry salt on it, let it sit.
Okay.
I got that grease 350.
Okay.
I made a little error, though. I didn't measure. I should have put the turkey down in the pot and put the water on it, know how much grease that I needed.
That's
when
right.
that turkey went in there to begin with, that grease rose, and it started coming over the top. So we had to pull it back out and spoon out some of that grease, that oil.
Right. I hope you did that outside.
We were outside, absolutely, and it was outstanding, Max.
He did a good job, Max. He didn't. I tried to get him to give you a little credit this morning. He wanted to take it all, but he did a good job.
So it was outstanding. Now, here's my last question for you, and I'm going to leave the turkey frying alone. Yes. They tell you that you can reuse that oil. How many times can you use that? Is that true?
That definitely will affect the taste now. I'm telling you, that's what happened to a lot of people. They'll only fry once and they'll try it again, and they use the same oil there in the taste, because as that oil sits, the ingredients of the turkey and the oil that you put on the bird itself will mix in with that grease. To me, I use it one time, pour it out.
I'm glad you said that, because I got it sitting under my thing. I got the funnel and all that. I was going to funnel it back in. That stuff's expensive, that peanut oil.
Oh, I know it is. It really is. But I'm glad. The only thing, you're absolutely right. You need to measure that for water, and I didn't mention that the other day. Most people will do this. You'll fill it about half, a little more than a half. Get it hot, put your bird in. Then if you need more, you pour the oil in. It'll be fine. The hot oil, the room temperature oil going in, will raise the level. But I'm glad it worked out good for you.
Well, I was glad I didn't do it in the garage, and I was glad I didn't do it, and certainly didn't do it inside. So, all right, Max, I'm gonna see if you know this. Well, let me ask you this one question, and you have it. Alabama and Auburn played in Tuscaloosa 11 times. What's the record?
I see. Coach Saban is 4-1. I know that. And I didn't keep up with it prior to that.
Good answer.
I'm gonna say 6. Let's see, Tuberville won over there a few times. I'm gonna say 6-5.
It's actually 7-4, and Auburn leads the series. That shocked me a little bit.
Yeah. Well, Tuberville got that run, if you remember.
Yeah.
Don't you remember Fear the Thumb?
Yeah.
When they won number 5.
James doesn't want to give them any credit. He said that was only because Alabama was down back then. So.
Well,
that's part of it.
Absolutely.
Let me ask you a question, we know we talk enough about Alabama Auburn. They fussed at me all the time about not talking about every second about it, but I'm not. If Georgia Tech beats Georgia and Georgia beats Alabama, where are we?
Alabama goes.
Georgia beats Alabama in the championship.
They're not going to take one with 2 losses, Coach.
With Georgia. So Georgia Tech beating Georgia would take care of that.
That's right. And 2 losses, I don't care where they came from. Remember, the only matters on the conference losses is in the conference. At the national level, is total wins and losses. And there's too many one-loss teams out there.
You're sitting there with a LSU team above Washington State. Washington State should be number 6. They should be the first team behind Georgia, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think they look at that, really, and that's just a kind of a gratuity for LSU. They did beat number 7, number 8, number 2. And Washington State, the league itself is down. I think now if they beat Washington this weekend, I think that'll be some legitimate, even though Washington's got 3 losses. But I think what that does is just point to the overall strength of the conference more than anything else out there.
Okay.
Max Egg Bowl last night didn't end well as far as the fight. Joe Moorhead, he came out and basically called out Ole Miss, said we're going to play with class, but we ain't going to take no bleep off nobody. And he won over just about every Mississippi State fan. When he said that, they forgot about that Florida game and all those things. They thought Joe Moorhead had their back. That was a mess. Kind of tell us what happened there, Max.
Well, first of all, it was a boring football game. And I think you have to just see the difference in the talent level, first and foremost. And part of that is due to the restriction on recruiting. The number I think Matt Luke's got about 51 or 2 scholarship players right now. But even those guys aren't to me, aren't quality players. I got bored with the game. I mean, it was just 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And nobody could get really into consistency. And I think Moorhead went in with a plan to run the football. Even though Fitzgerald has improved as a passer, and the wide receivers caught a couple of balls normally they wouldn't have caught. So, overall, then the mess at the end, to me, just reflected what the whole season at Ole Miss has been about. I will say to you that their meetings are going on this morning, and I think they'll make some major changes with that staff over there. So, we'll see how it all pans out. That they're looking for a president right now. That he got caught up in all the mess. He's gone, and I think there's going to be some other administrators go. I think they really need a purging, guys, from the top to the bottom, and start with a fresh breath, just a breath of fresh air. It's really stagnant. I mean, if you notice, I know they panicked. There was a decent crowd. In fact, I think more than I thought there would be. But from people I talked to last night that were there, they said it was way more Mississippi State fans there than it was Ole Miss fans.
But I don't want to see anybody lose their job. I don't really even like to talk about it, but it's of interest to me a little bit. With Gus's situation down there, and say the score is 50-0 or something or whatever, whether it be this year or next, maybe won't be at all. Is there anybody that you can think of that Auburn can hire to put a little bit of a dent in Alabama's success as far as recruiting is concerned, and be somebody that the Auburn people would take to? And I just don't know who that is.
Coach, I don't either. Now, the only name out there that is floating around, it popped up last night with some people I talked to after the game at Ole Miss, and wants to come back to this part of the country, is Mike Leach. Now, that name's popped up 2 or 3 times. I don't know where he's floating it out there or his agent's floating it out there, but that name keeps popping up, and he's done a good job out there. And I don't know I don't know the academic standards at Washington State. I don't know what everybody's got some basics on low end. That's based on what the NCAA allows guys for admissions. But I don't know. You're right, but I think if we all just step back and look, there is nobody that consistently is challenged Coach Saban in what he's doing, because he's just a different entity in the college football scene today. He's put together a program. He's built that program. I mean, a lot of people forget he lost to Louisiana Monroe in that first year. So he's come a long, long way with it and got it, I think, now where he really wants it. He can afford to lose players to the NFL draft. He lost, 6 or 7 coaches last year, and he just keeps rolling along. So to answer your question, I don't know. I think there may be 1 or 2 young guys out there that might get challenged in recruiting to start with, but not on the field. He's 15-0 against all the guys that have coached with him before.
The pretty much rumor that I get from the board is that there's a lot of infighting about some people not wanting Hugh Freeze if Hugh were to try to come to try to save, to make it better for next year. I don't think the president wants to do that. Now, whether that changes, I
don't think the SEC will let him come back in the league right now.
Okay, well, that's their thinking that there's a split vote on that. So that wouldn't be a saving grace for him, I don't think.
Right. Yep. But, and there's some other folks out there. I mean, look, the Mike Leach thing is interesting, to say the least, because, he had 2 or 3 situations. He lured the Minchik kid out there, the quarterback from Meridian. He was going to Alabama. And, of course, he was, all that transaction, I don't know where anybody realized it, that all took place in Jackson with Hal Mummy. Hal was coaching at Belhaven College, and they had Minchie down there. He'd been to junior college, and he was just working out, and Alabama was pursuing him pretty hard. And I think, from what I understand, Hal called Mike Leach and said, "Hey, I got a kid that he can throw football." And Leach flew in, and they worked out a deal and took him to Washington State, and the rest is history. He gets a good player. And I just use that as an example that Leach can do a lot of things. He's kind of quirky, I'll tell you. But I think he's a football coach.
Yeah, I think he's a nightmare on administrators.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just don't. I mean, I just can't see.
Can't name anybody.
I can't see anybody hiring him in the SEC. But I think he would give a little buzz. But I don't know who it would be. It's a good question. Who they could get that would excite you?
Right.
You know, I mean, the guy.
I think really you're going to have to look back to some of the younger coaches, maybe the guys at some of the smaller schools around that have been successful. That can take that same philosophy, whatever it might be, and move it to the next level. If he's got bigger and better players, I don't know, it may be Neil Brown at Troy, or Bill Clark at UAB, and that's a stretch because I know a lot of those guys at that level, they don't want to take a chance, and I do understand that. That is different. You got so many other responsibilities coaching at the at the SEC level as opposed to the Sun Belt level. You got academic responsibilities, you got all kind of fundraising problems and a bunch of stuff that you have to deal with, alumni, faculty members, and everything else. So I don't. But the direction they go, it's almost like roll the dice out there and you get a hit or a miss.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Barry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Now I forgot what I wanted to say. Let me think just a minute. Go ahead.
Max, let's talk about the Iron Bowl a minute. Well, what does Auburn have to do in this game? I think going fast is good.
I wanted to ask that. That's what I wanted to ask.
I think it's good and bad.
How do you practice that? How do you practice working against people going fast? I would say, not knowing much, that would be very difficult to do.
It is very difficult. The thing that of course, that evolved after I came off the field. But the fact is that the officials and the coaches have to have an understanding that going fast, that head linesman's got to hold that ball to all the substitutions done. That's where you get into a problem. If you leave in the same group on the field, they can pretty well make the adjustment. But they got to move. They can't wander around. The defensive linemen can't wander around, be looking in the backfield while they put the hand on the ground. So, I mean, it takes them, but the offense is just, it's almost just as bad for a team that doesn't do it consistently as it is for the defense for a team that never does. But if you remember, Coach Saban is the one that stepped up and got the officiating, got the rules fixed, where the substitution will work for as long as that head lineman hold that ball to both teams substitute.
But is that the right thing? I think you go fast, Max. I think it hurts Alabama a little bit. Always has Kirby Smart and those guys. But man, when you go fast and you keep giving the ball back to Tua, giving him more opportunities, what is the answer there? What do you try to do if you're all?
Well, to me, let me go to the other side. What Coach Malzahn is doing, and I've charted this. Every time, and normally they only go fast after a big game, if you notice. They'll throw a post pattern for 15 yards and run right back to the line of scrimmage, put the hand on, and turn the hand off inside. That is a pattern. I used to say, if I can sit in my den and tell the defense what the play is going to be, well, surely the defensive coordinators can know the same thing. And therein lies why the breakdown, I think, has come with Auburn. They got so predictable, and then they lost their running back, and the core of their offense had to change. And I saw a little change with Chip Lindsey. A couple of games, rather than hand that ball off right after on a quick snap, they turned and pitched through a short flare pass to a tailback. I saw some of that stuff, and that was Chip Lindsey. That was not Gus Malzahn. Now, how successful a guy that gets to a level like that, guys? It's just like you guys coaching basketball. Your system, you try to recruit to your system. You know what works. You know what the opponent's going to do or try to do to you, and you try to play your strength against their weakness. And that's exactly what happens now. Again, back to coach, back to your statement. How do you practice for that? You have to assimilate it, I think, in slow motion first, and then you speed the pace up during the practice every day until you get to that level. The good thing is right now they aren't restricted to 20-hour work week, mainly because school's out. So you got a little more time on the field that you can do that. But it's much like what Kirby's having to go through right now to get ready for Georgia Tech. You go see something that they don't see every week. The inside traps, the misdirection, and all that. But they got a chance to stay on the field a little bit longer and try to work that out. That's why I think Georgia really, comes away a big winner over Tech this weekend.
Max, I really believe Ohio State beats Michigan and Alabama beats Auburn. Alabama's in the Final Four regardless. But if Michigan wins and Georgia were to knock off Alabama, then it gets kind of hairy. How do you see this Michigan-Ohio State game?
I really think there's so much turmoil. I watched Ohio State twice this year. I watched them barely beat Nebraska, and then at one point win, in which they shouldn't have done this past weekend against Maryland. The guy was wide open on the end zone on a 2-point conversion. How do you give up that many points with a program that's in total chaos? Already fired the coach, the whole deal against Maryland. On those long runs, the effort by Ohio State was just not there. Now maybe it comes back against Michigan. I think Ohio State's beaten them like 10 out of 11 times. But this is Harbaugh's best football team he's had. The defense is a lot better than they did. I don't know. I just feel like Michigan's going to win this one. Mainly, I think with Coach Myers got some health problems. It's obvious on the sideline. Every shot goes to when the team's doing anything. The camera goes to Urban Meyer, and he's on his knees or he's down leaning over, holding his head, and he's got some major health problems. So how that transposes over, I just think there's got to be some kind of communication problem inside, and I think Jim Harbaugh, I think they move the offense is more than adequate, and the defense is very good.
The organization of the 4 schools that work for Coach Saban is a difference, in my opinion. But there are 2 schools of those that struggle a little bit. Tennessee and South Carolina. Which one of those jobs is the best job?
Tennessee, by far. Look, South Carolina to me is it has a ceiling. It can only do so much. The budget's only so much. The recruiting area that they recruit from has so many talented players, and they're going to lose a few of those every year. I just think South Carolina has a much lower ceiling than Tennessee. Even before they found they couldn't recruit against Tennessee. They got to go up down the coast. They got to go to Texas. They got to go to the West Coast, and they did all that. And so the format and the game plan to rebuild that program is already there. And I think the money's there now. From what I've heard, I know they struggle with some budgetary problems, and we've all that was well known by everybody. But I have understood now that they've got the budgetary situation ironed out. I think they've changed the board. They had 26 board members of the board of trustees at that university. That was some of the chaos that was coming. I didn't realize that a month or so ago. They've got it down to 11 working members now. So I think the whole process at the University of Tennessee certainly has changed, and Coach Fulmer's been part of that. And, I've scratched my head when that came about, to tell you the truth. I mean, I recall when they about ran him out of town from the football program. So, but he's back, and I think Jeremy Pruitt's the right choice for that school right now.
Where would Ole Miss go, Max, if they make a change? Would the guy over here at UAB, would he be a candidate?
Let me tell you, Barry, having been on the staff inside and they got people that make decisions over there that didn't have a background to do that. And I think that's where a lot of this problem. They had a bunch of doctors at one time that was trying to run the booster clubs and the board of trustees, and that didn't work. Then they switched over to a bunch of lawyers, and it's just I can't explain how from the inside out it's almost constant turmoil. It's not nearly as genteel as you'd like to think. And when you say Ole Miss, everybody thinks of the Grove and all the the beautiful women that walk around and all that. That's facade. You ought to work on the inside for a while. Okay, it's pretty constant turmoil, to say the least. I say that to tell you, I don't think anybody knows. I mean, even the guys trying to make a decision, they don't know. So, but I do think that because of all of this, and because of the probation and all the way that came down, and I do think they're going to eventually make some changes. Now, whether they're the right ones or not, it's almost like trial and error.
Well, we'll see what happens. I don't know. It's like Dad says, when you fire, you got to hire, and I don't know.
Right.
I don't know how attractive that job is right now for somebody that the fan base is going to be excited about. There's people that'll take it, and they may be the right choice.
It's very split too. I mean, it's all segmented now into all kinds. But I'm on 2 or 3 Facebook pages and all that with a bunch of Ole Miss folks, and I mean, you should hear some of it back and forth. There's no consistency, and no, it's no direction. And then some of the people that they've had trying to go the direction, they run into brick walls, and Archie got involved for a while, and Sean Toohey and them, that bunch got involved for a while. And that wasn't the right choice, and they both had backed down completely. At least publicly they have. So I don't know. I'm as frustrated just watching it as anybody else.
No doubt. Well, all right, Max. Anything for supper this week, or
man, I'm gonna tell you what. I went to this friend of mine yesterday about 11 o'clock. We ate at 4 yesterday. It was 16 people we had to feed. I'm telling you, we had fried turkey. We had traditional turkey. We had a 20-pound ham. We had about 5 vegetables, a couple of salads, and desserts. Man, we had five different kinds of pies and 2 cakes. I mean, I hadn't eaten since 4 o'clock yesterday afternoon, and I don't plan to eat till tonight. It was quite a feed, and everybody certainly enjoyed it. But traditional. I'll probably go in. I took some ham and turkey home, and I'll probably have turkey and ham sandwiches sitting in front of the TV tonight watching ball games.
All right, Max. Before we let you go, Washington State. Who wins it?
I'm going to take Washington State. I think they throw the ball well enough to do it, and I think Washington, look, they got 3 losses. They lost to Auburn right off the bat, and we know how that worked out. So I'm taking Washington State.
Appreciate it, Max. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Max.
Y'all have a good weekend. We'll talk Monday.